Yo, this is Deontay the Bronx Bomber Wild, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And I'd like to give a big shout out to CJ Goodfellow of Sports TV. Bomb Squad, baby.
All right, man. I heard that Dane Dubois and Joyce is finally in talks, and I am excited for that fight. Even though Joyce is 34 years old, I still like him. I'm probably in the minority of American fans that like watching Joyce. Dane Dubois is my favorite prospect in the heavyweight division. I have a few favorites around. Colbert and Jerron Ennis are two of my favorite prospects overall as well with Dane Dubois. And this is a fight that I'm very excited for, and hopefully Frank Warren can make it happen. And let's talk a little bit about Dubois versus Joyce, excuse me. Both have over a 90% knockout ratio. I think Joyce is 10-0 with 9 knockouts at 34 years old. Dane Dubois is 14-0, 13 knockouts. And Dubois is 22. Obviously, there's a 12-year gap between them. Joyce is a full-grown man at 34. And he's 6'6", and he got 2-inch reach advantage according to Boxing Rec at 80 inches, and Dubois 78 at 6'5". And yeah, man, this fight get me excited, man. And, it's at the point where I get excited for fights that I deem, I guess scintillating, juicy, because the top fight's not happening. I love these contender fights, man. I love a prospect. One of the best fights I like now in boxing, due to this era, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it's not like the old days. It's not like the old days." And it need to be like the old days, and you get better viewership. But my favorite fights are the contender fights when they do happen. Real top 10, top 5 contenders, or a prospect going up against a strong contender, which Joyce is. A lot of people say, "Oh, Joyce so slow." George Foreman was slow. There's a lot of heavyweights that are slow and still is slow. And I like this style. I like the way his punches flow. I told people he would beat Brian Jennings. I was in the minority, and him and Dane Dubois is a great fight for Dubois. It's a huge step up for him, man. Joyce, he can pop. He's strong. He a grown man. He got grown man strength. Dane Dubois ain't even got his grown man strength in yet. And when I look at this fight, it's basically gonna be a war. You know what I'm saying? The Gorman guy was supposed to be a step up for Dubois, and he looked like he didn't belong. I know Joyce do belong in the ring with Dane Dubois, and I think he belonged with the majority of nucleus of the division. That is the 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to the 15th guy in the division. He belonged. You know what I'm saying? He can punch a little bit. He might be slow, but his punches flow. He a strong guy. And, people want to see him go out there and have a great performance every night, and that's just impossible. People say, "Oh, he's awfully slow versus Bermain Stavon and this and that." Man, did he get the dub or not? And people say the same thing about Dubois. He robotic. I mean, if you go back, and I know this guy's not a heavyweight, if you go back and look at Golovkin as an amateur, you look at Golovkin early in his career, he looked hella robotic. You know what I'm saying? People, new boxing fans, they expect a 22-year-old to be a finished product. And it's a newsflash, man. Rarely do you get a 20-year-old Mike Tyson, or you get a 22-year-old, 21-year-old Canelo Alvarez. Some of them dudes peaked too early, like Mike Tyson. I think he got too much. He got celebrated too quick. And I believe Adrian Broner was another guy that peaked too early. Canelo he trending upwards in his career, so he may just be the exception to that rule. But Dubois is gonna get better. FN Jabba is supposed to get better. Boss Kelly is supposed to get better. Colbert is gonna get better. Secure Stevenson should get better. And Devin Haney, people looking at them as finished products. You're not gonna be perfect. Even if you're a world champion, it doesn't mean you're gonna be the best fighter that you're gonna be. Look at Deontay Wilder since when he beat Bermain Stavern. You know what I'm saying? Hasn't he got better since he got the championship? But let's take a look at the fight. Really it's gonna come down to, Dane Dubois probably, his hand speed or timing Joyce. And, if I was his corner, looking at how Joyce fight, I think Daniel Dubois should fight his fight versus Joe Joyce. You know what I'm saying? Use his jab, push Joe Joyce back. Joe Joyce seemed to be more effective when you put him on the front foot. You know what I'm saying? Joe Joyce seemed to be, when he pushed you to the ropes and putting your back against the ropes, he seemed to be more effective. And then when he running his combinations, now there is opportunity for you to punch with him. And if you can time him or you can get your punches home first with your speed, I think you will be good. I think the boys have to punch with him. You can't let Joe Joyce get in the groove and where he can throw his little slap shots and keep it moving. And I think whoever on the front foot is gonna win this fight. Whoever can take each other punishment better. You know what I'm saying? Joe Joyce, he got embarrassed by Alexander Usyk in the World Series of Boxing, but the difference was Usyk used a lot of lateral movement. He used a lot of pivots. He used his speed, and he was touching Joe Joyce. He wasn't allowing Joe Joyce to get off. And Daniel Dubois ain't that type of fighter. Daniel Dubois is a big, strong heavyweight. He can cut the ring off. Can get you on the ropes and punish you. And I think Dubois should focus on his jab in this fight, staying on the front foot and getting and working Joe Joyce's body and punching with Joe Joyce in his combinations. You know what I'm saying? And Joe Joyce, he needs to fight his fight, push Dubois backwards. You know what I'm saying? Dubois will exchange with you. And if you could take his punishment and you can stagger him, we'll see he's still a kid. He still ain't strong. He still ain't got his grown man strength. But the problem with that is he may just be already stronger than Joe Joyce. But like I said before, whoever on the front foot and whoever could take each other punishment the most, and whoever hands get home first probably gonna win this fight. But I do think Daniel Dubois is the better fighter. I think he got the brighter future, obviously at 22. But then again, in the heavyweight title, one punch can change it. But in my opinion, I don't think Joe Joyce has the concussive power of Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel Dubois got better power. But the thing about it is, Daniel Dubois ain't really been in there with a guy that can punch like Joe Joyce. He been in there with Gorman and a few other guys I really ain't heard of. The journeyman kind of rocked him a little bit. So Joe Joyce is going to be the best fighter he fought. So you really can't compare Gorman and the other guys that he fought to Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is going to be a step-up fight for him. In the year of the old man, 2019, upsetting the Young Lions and giving the Young Lions a run for their money, don't rule Joe Joyce out. You know what I'm saying? Don't rule him out. But I think Daniel Dubois is just too dynamite. I think he's just too strong. And I think he might be a tad bit. I think he is definitely faster than Joe Joyce, man. And I think, is this a fight that he deserves a world championship off of, or the winner deserves a world championship? No. I don't think they do in the same world or in the old school boxing world. But this is the fight that they're not giving us. These are the contender fights we're not getting, like, in the welterweight division, Lipinets and Yugas. That's a contender fight that we should be getting in. You go down to lightweight and, you should be getting, a Fortuna versus, Luke Campbell as a contender versus a world title shot. Other guys in this division, you might want to get a Felipe Harkovich versus, a Joseph Parker. You don't get those fights too often, and I believe, based off I think this is the beginning of a title shot, run for one of them guys, and I think the winner should go on to fight, a top guy for a title shot. I don't know if it'd be for the WBC or one of Joshua's top belts, but also around Daniel Dubois is a lot of sparring rumors. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of rumors that he dropped AJ. He beat up Povetkin on his training camp to fight AJ, and he done a lot of great things in sparring, man. And they bringing him along nicely, and people forget this dude only 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? Coming from a fighting family, dad seemed to have a good control. His sister boxed, his little brother boxed like a little him. So it's gonna be an interesting fight, man. And if I could go to this fight, I would go to this fight, because that's how much I like both of them as heavyweights. And it intrigues me that if they do make this fight, that it intrigues me because they taking chances that other guys won't take. And they together, they only got, 23 fights. And this guy's, with 20 fights and 30 fights that wouldn't, 40 fights that wouldn't take fights like this, and they just wait to, you know, financially find their way into a fight. So boxing need more of these type of fights. Not the prospect going into the fighting the tough contender, but they need more contenders fighting each other like this, man. More of these nucleus guys, these 10 to 1 contender guys fighting each other for the right. You know, just for the right to be on the way to a title shot, man. So I like the winner of this to fight the Kanowski, Joseph Parker, Dominique Brazil, and then possibly a title run in 2021, man. So, you know, Dubois, they moving in the right way. He is Frank Warren's most prized fighter other than Tyson Fury, man, that I know of. So, you know, Frank Warren willing to put him in with Joe Joyce. I think that screams they got a lot of confidence in the kid, man. And I got a lot of confidence in him. But don't forget, rocky moments gonna happen to younger fighters. Guys gonna get dropped. Guys gonna do the stanky leg. Guys gonna get stunned. Guys gonna get hurt. It happens. You know, Carlos Barderas, a young guy who got stopped on the Harrison Charlo 2 card, it happens. You know, Zab, it happened too. He still had a great career. So stop expecting perfection out of younger fighters, man. All right? They imperfect. They young for a reason. So I look forward to seeing this fight. I get an early edge to Dubois, but I'll do some film study. But I like both fighters. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email if you got business, question, require, sponsorship, video requests. Keep sharing the videos. Appreciate the love and support. Check our heavyweight boxing playlist. That's what this video going into. Want to make a donation? Just share the video and let me know what you guys think about the fight.